was tied to them. And so once they went down, everything went down.
That was it. Huh?
That was it. So that's why we get like the Sambo Texas.
Right.
It's our own. It's kind of like affiliates with jiu-jitsu, you know.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that like they have the federation and then they have like their affiliation. So and the same thing with us is like if the federation goes down like it has in the past, Sambo Texas will always be there.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
We won't lose like all that we built.
All right, we're gonna be going live in a few seconds. And from here, of course, I'm going to put it on the Texas Fighting page on Facebook.
And yeah, I'll share
we'll
that.
be live. Right. And let me share it right now because for some reason it keeps throwing me off. And I was looking at it right now too. It goes straight to my feed. But got more followers on there too. So well, actually, they're both the same, man. So I'm definitely
That's good, bro. Yeah, man, this facility is really, really nice, though.
Yeah.
Especially with the podcast here and everything, it's pretty badass.
It's actually, I mean, to my knowledge, man, I know there's other gyms after we had started this up that, you know, we're like, hey, we're doing this or we're doing the same, but it's not. You know, everybody's got their own personality, man. I like it. You know, I've been doing in the fight game, like as far as MMA, jiu-jitsu since like 2000, so it's just always been something, you know, it led up to this, but yeah, man, everybody out there, Spider, the Fight Card Podcast, of course, as always, we are here in the studio at the HOJ training facility. And my guest, my man, introduce yourself to the people, bro.
How you doing, guys? My name is Julian Sanchez. I own Sambo Texas, one of the largest program in the USA for Sambo, as far as like members go. We have several affiliation clubs, this one being one of our newest ones, Sambo Texas San Antonio with Coach Patrick. And Richard helping out as well with Southtown Judo is his main club out of here, the HOJ. So I also own the Sambo League, which is the biggest tournament provider inside the USA. We do the most and the biggest tournaments in the USA. We even hosted the 2022 Nationals and broke records there. We had, I think, the biggest turnout in like either like 10, 15 years or in history. And we did... And what's groundbreaking on that is that for that Nationals tournament, we did combat sambo for males, females, youth, and then we did sport for female and males as well. And we had a lot of guys that were national champions, a few guys that are here today. One of them, like Taylor Weber here, he made the USA team, and then I coached him along with the other coaching staff for Team USA at the Pan Ams. He took double gold Nationals and at Pan Ams. So again, he's here at the training camp. Along with that, I'm also a member of USA Sambo, which is the leading organization for Sambo in the USA. They're the main governing body for here for us under FIOS. And then with FIOS as well, I just did a training camp in Costa Rica with coaches from all over the world. We had 20 coaches there.
Wow.
And we had one coach, and this was Sambo is going in a new direction. It's adding and it's solidifying its system and its teaching methods for the new era. So this is like this year or past year, this is like the new era for Sambo going forward.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, so what they did is they standardized the learning, the material, and the languages. So Sambo now is standardized through FIOS in 3 languages: Russian, Spanish, and English. So, you know, there were guys there taking their exams in Costa Rica with me for their coaches certification for national level. I became the 4th out of 5 total in the U.S. that's under FIOS for like national level coaches for Sambo. That's their new system now. So under FIOS, I'm a national level coach, and I coached. I was one of the Team USA coaches for the 2022 Pan Am Games. We coached a lot of fighters out of there. I even had 4 of my national champions on the team. So it was a great time, man.
That's a lot, bro.
Doing a lot of stuff here and there.
No kidding. I thought I was busy, man. I'm like, damn. And I mean, that's pretty cool, man, because obviously, I mean, you're getting to travel with this. I mean, that's a great opportunity, like here, like to be able to meet new people. I mean, of course, you know, we're always learning. I mean, when it comes to life in general, but I mean, the sport itself, like you said, the fact that it's solidified and it's actually something new. I mean, it's of course, it's been around for years, and I mean, I'll say this right off the bat, like Sambo. I mean, of course, when it comes to fighters, we just had a recent turn of events over the weekend, man, with a new UFC title holder.
Yeah.
People. I mean, that's one of the things people always tell me, because it's just like when a fighter's winning, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, man," and then they lose, and it's like, "Oh, it doesn't work" or whatever. But I mean, it's Sambo. I mean, it's on the person also, man. I mean, it might not be every fighter that's going to be winning or competitor, but I mean, it is a tough sport. Back when we first started training here in San Antonio, we weren't a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, but we used to wear a kimono. We wore gis. We used to do all that Jiu-Jitsu. When it came to fundamentals. But the other thing we did was Sambo, man. We used to do a lot of leg locks, ankle locks, transitions. I mean, it was. I always describe it as cast wrestling with a gi, because it was just rough and tumble, man. Like we went in there. As far as what we were doing, it was just like we did everything. But wrestling Sambo was always one of the things, man. Because I mean, it's like, in order to learn how to defend this stuff, you gotta learn how to apply it. So it's like you gotta learn it, and that's kind of where it came in for me. It was just something new, and I fell in love with it, bro. But the fact that, I mean, you guys are here, man. Yesterday, like I was telling Patrick, man, I said it's a missed opportunity for those that didn't attend, because there was a lot of knowledge being spread, man. And I loved it. I mean, I was out there taking photos. I mean, I wasn't learning for free, I swear, but there was a few transitions. No, yeah, bro. You see, and I'm watching this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, you know what? It's some stuff that I've done, but there was like new stuff added, and I'm like, oh man, nice, and it's. I mean, we're always learning, so that was one of the cool things about it. The turnout, of course, it was a 2-day summer camp yesterday and today, correct?
Yeah, this is this event here is one of our first and one of the biggest to my knowledge, and this was the name of this event was the Sambo Texas Summit 2022, right?
Right.
And we're gonna do this every 2 years.
Nice.
And get it bigger and bigger. And the funny thing about this is that we actually had, I think, 3 or 4 of our other clubs coming, but they had stuff with bare knuckle and MMA fights. So thankfully they couldn't come, because I think we would have had about 180 to 200 members on the mat. I think we would have we had 50 at this turnout.
Right.
With the team picture that we had, and then we had a few guys that were coming from further away. We had total about, I would say, 6 more come in, pushing it to about 50 members that came in total.
Though, man.
Yeah, so it was very great, and to be one of the largest training camps for Sambo. An amazing thing to be held in this beautiful facility. Like I said, the guys don't know, check out HOJ, an amazing facility. 2 stories, amazing facility with the podcast that we're on right now.
A lot of parking, of course.
A lot of parking,
yeah.
Right next to the Riverwalk. Amazing location. If you're in the area, definitely visit them. And they, like I said, gave us the opportunity to use our facility with Coach Patrick and that kind of stuff, with Richard, to get this camp underway. And we just kind of, want to kind of pay homage to, we want to try to do big camps like the Gracies, like the Machado just did over there in our area.
Yeah.
Trying to do that, trying to work Sambo up to that level. The difference is we have to, as coaches, put in the time. And for Sambo Texas, that's what we did. We brought in a bunch of our coaches, and we had attending coaches. We had Ruben Cerna, who's Sambo Texas West Oak Cliff.
Right.
We had Coach Patrick and Coach Richard, Sambo Texas San Antonio. We had my clubs as well, and some of my assistant coaches here was for Sambo Texas HQ, that's Arlington, and Sambo Texas Dallas Irving area. And we had also another guy that has been with us from the beginning is Coach Herbeck out of Universal Judo. Him and his people support our main events from the beginning inside the Sambo League, and also our Sambo Texas events, and showed up with 16 people, So and he also coached some amazing work, and a lot of people don't know that Coach Herbeck is a OG in the game of Sambo.
Man. Yeah.
He's competed monster himself, coached as one of the USA coaches back in the day as well for Sambo. So the guy is legit. He's produced some world champions, some high level champions in all levels of Sambo, world level, Pan Am, nationals, and really appreciated all the guys that came out today as far as coaches to share knowledge and coach. And it was a great turnout, man.
No, yeah, like I said yesterday, I mean, I know Patrick was a little nervous, at the beginning, because he was like, man, I mean, but, it was great. I mean, once people started showing up, and I mean, I kind of noticed nerves calming down, but I mean, it's just like being put in the spot, man. I mean, they're in a situation, and they say, hey, you got to talk to 100 people. You're like, oh, man, some people,
It's nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah. I've been two of those myself this past month, man, which was awesome. One of them I got to interview recent UFC fighter, of course. You know, Haley Cohen.
Yes.
And they were like, yeah, can you get in the cage and interview her? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm thinking, damn, dude.
Pressure.
I was like, yeah, you know, no pressure, man. So it worked out. I enjoyed it.
That's
I did
awesome.
commentary this past weekend also, man, at another event for Tapper Scrap. And
awesome.
And I got to say this, because when it comes to Sambo, I mean, there's leg locks, you know, ankle locks, knee bars. I mean, there's all sorts of, and there's more, man. I mean, there's probably the main ones, but the transition and just the other submissions that you can come up with or get along the way.
Definitely.
I mean, that's something that's been, it's been used for years. I mean, mixed martial arts. I mean, you name it, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, for you guys, when did this start for you? What was it that attracted you to Sambo?
Number one, I wrestled varsity in high school, but in the beginning, I'm Hispanic, and my family were boxers. So my mom's side of the family, all boxers. My grandfather was professional middleweight, and he has international wins over Mexico as well. And then my father did Taekwondo in the beginning, and then so I ended up kind of getting both mixes. So from the beginning when I was younger, you know, a little bit of boxing work with, because my mom's dad and all their brothers did boxing. So I grew up in that kind of world. So you know, did that, and then we had like my daughter Ariel, she's 8 months, and my beautiful wife Jackie over there. You know, she goes everywhere with me, but like her, I was in and out of like the gyms, and from a young age, I would say probably about 4, I was in and out of like Taekwondo training with my dad.
So you got to see everything as far as training and...
Yes, and then I went into wrestling in high school, and I think I was the first, I believe, in my family to do any kind of grappling art. And coming from a striking family, that's like a big no-no.
No, yeah, they're like, what are you doing wrestling, rolling around?
Like, it gets a little sus.
Did they encourage that though? I mean, when they saw you like that you were, you know, getting into wrestling, were they?
Funny part is like my mom wanted nothing to do with me with fighting at all. You know, she didn't want none of that because she grew up with that with her brothers and her dad. So she was like, I don't want none of that for my son. But eventually, like, I just kind of gravitated to what it was, you know, in my blood. I just gravitated toward it. And I tried all sports. I did track wrestling, football, basketball, but what I excelled at was combat sports.
Right.
So when I got to high school, I actually got scouted from the football team and the track team by the wrestling coach.
Damn.
Yeah, I was an outside linebacker, small, but I was fast and I hit hard. So they're like, hey, you're not really going to do too well in football because of your size. And they're like, hey, but if you come to wrestling, this is where we really like you know, guys that, you know, in your height really kind of excel. And so that's where I kind of found, you know, wrestling was one of my main things that I really liked and had fun with. And I think I only lost one match my freshman year, and then I switched. That kind of came naturally, and then I switched to, and this was like pre-YouTube days. So you had to learn in a book, or somebody had to give you a dusty VHS magazine, you saw something. Yeah. And I remember my coach, Coach Pellissier, shout out, old Navy wrestler. Yeah. He ended up giving me a VHS tape. And I was like, I'm gonna fuck up everybody. Like, just like this secret,
learn everything.
This secret knowledge, you know. And did great. And then eventually, I ended up going into a gym called Arlington MMA. It's where I live in the area. And ended up finding an older guy that was a wrestling coach. Right. He actually one of my first coaches, Master Bruce Foster. He coached wrestling professionally for Trinity High. He took him to like from not even on the map to 12th in the country in wrestling. Wow. So, you know, knowledgeable man, professional coach for high schools like that. But he did a ton of different arts, just an old guy. I think he was like in his 70s by the time I got to him, 60s, 70s. And his wife is full Russian, you know, full-blooded Russian.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, he'll kind of get, you know, trainings from there. And that's where he got kind of introduced to Sambo.
Yeah.
And you know, cross training once in a while over there, trying it out. As a martial artist, you go to different countries, try to find a gym to cross train at. Anyway, so he brought that, and thankfully he was all about making people well rounded, and did very good in there. Learned that stuff, learned Sambo in there, and then once I kind of took it past where he could teach me, I started competing nationally. And to be honest, going full circle, Coach Herbeck used to run the USA Nationals for Sambo. right? And I remember driving down here to San Antonio in the rain, like it was dead rain, hard rain, couldn't see. I drove the 5 hours down here and hopped on the mat to compete. I think I took second and third. I forget exactly what, but Coach Richard, that was here today, was funny because I was going back to look at those national events that I was doing with Coach Herbeck at first. I saw Coach Richard he was doing like this symbol, which means like submission in Sambo. I saw him reffing one of my matches where I was getting an ankle lock on somebody as a highlight reel for like the nationals. And so again, full circle, Coach Herbeck brought his people to my first nationals, and a lot of them, that was their first time competing at nationals. But I always give Coach Herbeck the respect that he deserves and that he has for me and all of my clubs and companies. Is that without him, and the point of this long ass story is that without Coach Herbeck, none of this would have been possible, right? None of this would have been possible to even have a kid like me from Texas the chance to try a sport of Soviet Russian Sambo. I would have never had a chance.
You see, and like I mentioned earlier, man, I mean, for me, it was something that we used to do. I mean, we weren't, I guess, officially a Sambo school. I mean, like I said, we used to train under Vale Tudo, which, Portuguese, anything goes. And I always liked it, man. I mean, that was one of the things, of course, everybody would always go for. And my thing was countering. As soon as I knew they had a heel hook, I'd go for the inside. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I would mix it up, and they'd be like, okay, now it gave me enough to create an opening and get out or finish, get that tap. But as far as training, man, I mean, you have all these schools, all these clubs. I mean, well, the clubs, right? You have affiliations.
Yeah, the main club is Sambo Texas in Arlington, but we have affiliation clubs that are clubs themselves, and either they have a Sambo program in them,
right?
Or some maybe are even starting to be just Sambo gyms, stuff like that. Yeah.
You see, and I was gonna say, because I remember, I mean, I know there's gyms out there that do Sambo, or at least that I've seen throughout the years, man. But it's never been huge. It's never been big. But the clubs that were out there were good, though. It's just, in other words, it's not quantity, it's quality.
Yeah.
You get enough group of guys, and all of them are monsters, right? I mean, men and women. I mean, they go and train, and I mean, being that you're a Sambo specialist, man. I mean, do you guys compete outside the sport, like when it comes to like jiu-jitsu or submission grappling, or is it just straight
everything? Like, that's one, and that's kind of the thing, is like the beauty of combat Sambo, and we like to focus more on combat Sambo. Right. We myself, I'm a sports Sambo guy. I love it, but also love combat because of my striking background. Yeah. Right? I want to gravitate something that's everything. But the beautiful thing is that we use combat Sambo as a base for our fighters. Just like other schools, they may say, hey, our base is jiu-jitsu, but we're going to teach them MMA.
Right, okay, makes sense.
Or judo, and then basically going to be MMA. Like, I forget the girl that fought, I'm blanking on her name. Naomi, she won a $50,000 cash prize off of ONE FC. Strong judoka from Thailand and France. She just won, and it was a father-daughter fighting. Father and a daughter fighting. She ended up taking the win for like judo. But again, her base was judo, and she learned MMA to mix it up into there and her other striking arts. But for us, our base is combat Sambo, and that allows us to go into MMA. It allows us to go into Muay Thai tournaments, kickboxing tournaments.
Nice. Our
guys also do jiu-jitsu, no gi. Some of them do gi, but because of we use a top called a kurka, right? A little different epaulets and belt holes on them, that kind of stuff. Right. A little shorter on the skirt. A little bit thinner material too, so gripping's different. So judo gi is a little bit heavier, thicker.
Oh yeah.
Sambo gi is very thin, hard to get out of the grips. But the difference is that combat Sambo is our base, and then for enough, I guess, events throughout the year, because our guys are always competing. Like I would say every other month or every month, my guys are doing something different. So like right now, we're prepping our guys to go fight at Dominion in November. Nice. 19th coming up. So a few of them have amateur debuts and that kind of stuff. Cool. So that's the goal. Yeah, combat Sambo is our base, and then we're like, to my knowledge, probably the only Sambo main club in the U.S. that does Sambo 6 days or can offer Sambo 6 days a week. Nice. There's some good clubs out there, but they don't offer the amount of days.
It's like you said. It's kind of like part of the curriculum that they teach there.
Yes,
I mean, it's not like full-time.
Yeah. Most of the Sambo that you do see is going to be a program inside another club as a side program. And again, nothing wrong with that. It definitely keeps growing the sport. So I'm all about that myself. The second part of that is like, we wanted to change the game and make Sambo our main thing.
Right.
So when we took the effort to go for Sambo Texas and to make it a full-fledged thing, that was our main thing is Sambo, and we do other things in the club on the side. So that's how we pushed it. Because for MMA, as we saw with Khabib, Fedor, as we saw with Islam Makhachev, as we're seeing in the female division with one of my friends, Marina Monakonov, 7-time world champion. She fought Kayla Harris, and they counted her out, and she took Kayla Harris to a decision the whole time. So, and she will be in the UFC. She's very good. She trains at Sanford MMA in Miami, and also Russia. She's back and forth. But just a little background: combat sambo predates MMA by like 55 years or decades before. So. When people say, "Hey, is combat sambo like MMA?" I'm like, "Well, technically, MMA is like sambo,
right?
As far as like being a small glove sport,
right?
Allowing a lot of different techniques. But yeah, man, it's been fun, and we try to do everything that we can, like that, just to stay hungry, keep our guys active.
No, and I was gonna say definitely stay busy, just get the guys out there to get experience, man, because that's what it boils down to. Now, of course, I mean, there's a organization out there, man, Texas Cash Wrestling.
Yes, I know the guy. He actually competed at.
No, yeah, and I was going to bring him up, man, because Christopher Bubba Flores, man. I mean, of course, he is the owner. Well, he's one of the owners. I mean, but they have the promotion. But can we see some of your guys on that promotion?
Yeah, like I had talked to him about it, and I think he had actually talked to us at the tournament. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I scout some guys?" I'm like, "No problem," because it's funny. Even the Venezuelan team for Sambo was scouting guys at the U.S. Nationals, and we actually have one of the guys that fought. He's one of my students, talented guy. His name is Arturo Rodriguez, and he fights out of Sambo Texas, Dallas.
Nice. But
he's also Venezuelan. So they scouted him, like the national coach from Venezuela, one of them came to our nationals to train, but also, I guess, to pick some talent.
Right.
And ended up taking him to one of the newer things, what we have is Continental Cups. So instead of like a Pan Am's where it's like 20 teams, stuff like that, it's only 8 teams, so it's a little bit smaller cup. But the USA didn't compete for that, so I was like, hey, it's no conflict of interest.
Right.
I said, if you wanted to go with him, and like I said, that's why. If you look at some of the stuff today from the Sambo Texas Summit, you're gonna see like guys with like a Venezuelan patch on.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Those are the guys that have competed from our club, who are Venezuelan. And to be honest, like half our team are Venezuelan guys. They're really good.
Nice.
Amazing fighters. But yeah, so we like to put our guys on everything. So exposure is key. Because either we go into catch wrestling, it's a Sambo guy doing catch wrestling. So either way, both sports benefit.
Right.
Yeah. So we're all for it, brother.
No, for sure. And let me ask you now, when it comes to tournaments, because you were saying you guys hosted one in was it in Dallas?
Yeah, we host most of them in Dallas, Arlington area. Yeah.
And the one that Bubba Flores went to?
That was the 2022 USA Sambo Nationals hosted by the Sambo League.
You see, and on that one, I mean, of course, you guys competed in that one, right?
Yes, combat Sambo sport, all that. We actually took Sambo Texas as a team, took first place at that tournament, and we took second or third in the open division. I think we had 14 countries come with. Not a full team, but they had 1 or 2 members from different countries come out. Because what it is USA Nationals is only for U.S. citizens. Cannot get on the national team if you're not, because how FIAS checks your validity to see if you are from the country that you are from. They check passports. That's how you register for that. So that's unfortunate, but a part of the game.
Right.
But to combat that, we have the Open. In the Open, we allow everybody in there to compete at the USA Nationals at that divisions. So we took first place as a team, so in 2022 we were the best Sambo team in the USA, and that's in sport and combat combined. And then we did second or third in the Open, I believe, division. So still putting up great numbers on the board, so it was good.
And let me ask you, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, for those watching, between sport and combat Sambo?
Combat Sambo is going to be, like I said, if you ever watch MMA, it's like that, to the point where like there's a lot of techniques are allowed, punches, kicks, knees, elbows, and which is kind of controversial, but we love it, headbutts. Right, headbutts, wow. Yeah. You used to be able to headbutt on the ground, so if you look up some Sambo highlights from Russia, In the older rule set, you're going to see a lot of guys that take them down and then as a ground and pound, punch, headbutt, and knocking guys out just clean. But that's allowed in combat. Strikes are basically allowed in sport. Same thing score, same thing go, but no strikes of any kind.
Right.
Secondary difference point-wise is, which is actually they did this rule-wise so that the grapplers couldn't just come in and not strike and just out-grapple everybody.
Right.
They made it to where, like, in Sambo, you can do a pin. So any kind of big throw that's really good is 4 points.
Right.
There's more points, 4, 2, 1, but 4 points. And then if you hold them down in side control or mount or wherever, you can get a pin for 4.
Nice.
The sport of Sambo is an 8-point game.
Right.
So 8-point majority wins.
Damn. So 2 slams and you're good, huh?
That's it. So so what they did in combat, a hold for 20 seconds, like a pin, is only worth 2 points. So now even if the grappler does take him down and hold him, he still has to get back up and do it again to be able. So he has to. It forces you to strike.
And of course, just like in any other martial arts, I mean, for self-defense, I mean, that's good for self-defense as well, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the name Sambo is actually an acronym. It's self-defense without weapons, is what it's called. But the acronym, from Russian. They at that time acronyms were like really hot back in the day, so like everything had an acronym. So Sambo ended up becoming what it is today. But yeah, it was actually developed for the Russian military as their main training system for their combat forces. Right. And the father of Sambo, and again one of the founding fathers, is multiple, but for this guy, Vasily Chekhov, he wrote the first fighting and training manual for the Russian Red Army back in the day. And of course it included a little bit of everything, weapons work with a bayonet,
right,
strikes and grappling, but again it was essentially what we see as Sambo, combat Sambo.
Nice.
Yeah, so it is a military art for the Russian military, so if it's good enough for that, it's definitely good enough for the street.
Definitely, man, because I remember reading, I don't remember if it was that book specifically, but yeah, I mean, reading up on it just because, like I said, when we first started here, back in 2000, we were learning everything, man. Yeah. But it was more because it was a vale todo school. It was just basically what is now mixed martial arts.
Yeah,
that acronym wasn't being used back then, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just led to me wanting to learn more.
Yes.
And I mean, Sambo is one of them. I remember, going to these museums that back then we used to call them libraries, right?
Yeah.
But going out there and just looking for literature, looking for books and. I mean, among Sambo, of course, Cash Wrestling. There was other ones out there that grabbed my attention, and I was like, man, I want to learn this stuff, And luckily for me, Rango Vale Todo, I mean, they were teaching everything. It was just like you go in there and it was just rough, man. I mean, a lot of students wouldn't stay just because it was tough, but those that did, it was good for us because it was like people that wanted to get motivated and wanted to get pushed to that limit to where like you wanted to learn more stuff. So
and like guys that are open-minded like that are very rare. Unfortunately, in the sports. So finding a guy like that, finding a guy like my first coach that was open to... The funny thing about leg locks, man, is I used to wear my Sambo shorts, and I would compete in like submission grappling events, and I remember like 12, 13 years ago, whatever it was, back in the day when it was still kind of early, Danaher, Death Squad guys in 2017. In my opinion, leg locks became popular, mainstream, I would say, 2017 because of those guys. Yeah. But back in the day, before that, to be honest, it was taboo everywhere we went. So I remember me and like one other guy, and again, he was also a Sambo guy, that were doing like the leg locks, and of course we're getting frowns and all kinds of like that. But we were winning. So
no, you see, and that's one of the things, man, because for us, I think it was 2004. I attended a seminar with Professor Carlos Machado. He was here from Dallas. And, I mean, he knew I was under Mike Rangel, and I told him, and I said, hey, look, I'm a purple belt in his system. It's not jiu-jitsu. I said, but I'm looking to get ranked. I'm looking to get, and that's kind of where I went. I went to a seminar with him. I had to work, so I got there late. I didn't do the private or anything, but I got to roll with a guy. And, I mean, I was telling him, I said, man, we do gi, no gi. He's like, dude, that's perfect. You want to do that. You don't want to just, So because he was open to it, I was like, all right, cool, man. Because, it was taboo. Like, he didn't. I remember going to traditional martial arts schools to try to just pick up other. I wasn't there to bully or anything, but I was like, man, I want to see what else I can learn, And I was like willing to pay, of course, But as soon as I get there, they see my shirt, which ironically I had a jiu-jitsu shirt or something, and they were like, right off the bat, they wouldn't pay attention to me, or they would ask me to leave, and I'm like, man, like it was just.
Yeah.
You
It's
know.
hard. It was definitely a harder time for like being open to different things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and a lot of it, and maybe it wasn't, but I would say it was fear because they spent so much time and money building this, and now they're like, hey, well,
Yeah.
this doesn't
Building
work.
up their students.
It doesn't work on this, or it doesn't. You know, who knows? But
Yeah. Who knows?
But for us, I mean, it was open. You know, I mean, Mike Rangel, of course, and I throw his name all over this place, man. He better give me credit for something, man. But
Hey man, give this guy some.
yeah.
Get this guy a bone.
give me a shirt. Buy me a shirt. No, but the guy was. I mean, I would tell him like, hey, I want to go, you know, boxing. And he's like, man, it's your money, go. You know, and I'm like, cool. So
Yeah.
and I
Coaches
would
like
go
that,
there.
man, are one in a million and worth every ounce of their salt.
Oh yeah, man. Plus he enjoyed it because if we went out and we learned something, we'd bring it back, and he'd learn it and counter us, and that sucked. but man, I mean, as far as like you said, this is going to be for the summer camp that you guys had. It's going to be every 2 years.
Yeah, and this is it Sambo Texas Summit.
Summit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, we're going to be doing it every 2 years, and we're going to be doing smaller training camps, you know, throughout the year. But we want this to be an experience. Like I said, you brought up Professor Machado. He just had a giant training camp.
Bro.
Huge. That's where we want to be one day with Sambo, because I remember everybody doing training camps, and it's like one coach at one club.
You're like
And
yelling.
that's how it is now still. You know, that's how it is now. It's like, you know, that's not our goal for like Sambo. It's to
Get
build and
everybody
grow
involved.
and get everybody involved. Like you said with that, going to that seminar, that kind of changed your game, you know. And same thing for here. We got a lot of guys that are judo guys or guys that have done only wrestling that came into that.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're like, hey, man, we really like this Sambo thing. And that's what it's about. You know, it's about, the Sambo Texas Summit is about bringing, number one, all the coaches that are with us, or even, like I said, even like Universal Judo is not a Sambo Texas affiliation, but definitely a loved family member of the Sambo community and Sambo Texas as well,
Okay.
bringing them together.
And of course, I like the fact that you guys invited the coaches, because if the students see that, I mean, they're gonna be more welcome to do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I saw that yesterday, and I was like, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, it was yesterday. I mean, just watching the summit yesterday, man, it was great. I enjoyed it. I mean, the fact that people got to kind of bump heads with other you know, people wanting to learn or actually in the sport now. But I thought it was pretty cool, man. I mean, I was like, you know what, man, I like that kind of camaraderie. You know, it's just it's open. You know, it opens the mind for one thing.
Yeah.
You know, you always learn. You always want to keep that open mind. You know, because there might be something you haven't seen, or maybe see, you know, watch it differently, or who knows. But
And on that same note, just kind of piggyback off that, is like, you know, number one, the students is one thing, right? And then the coaches is another component, right? So the main thing is like, how do we make it fun for everybody? How do we make it an experience for everybody? That is kind of my gift, is I can rally troops. Like, you know, that's my thing. That's what USA Sambo, they asked me to do a tournament, and I bring everybody.
Yeah.
So that is my gift in the sport. Two, I'm a good talker.
No, definitely,
I'm a good talker. Get that from my mom. My mom, you know, speaks all the time. But one of the main things is that for the coaches, it's very important. Number one, to shine respect on them, and two, give them an audience. A great example of this, and this, you know, Coach Herbeck as well, is older guard of Sambo. You know, still a savage, still his mind's still sharp as ever, as we saw at the summit.
yeah.
But a lot of the newer guys may not know him, right?
Yeah.
But bringing him in here, and I remember at the Nationals, he was wearing an older version of the USA Sambo track jackets that the coaches get.
Yeah.
That the coaches get,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Who is that guy?" So I had to explain it every time. But you know, Coach Herbeck, again, great mind for Sambo.
Yeah.
High-level coach, high-level athletes produced out of his gym. Another one is Coach Richard. Coach Richard is like, if you don't know, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And the thing about Richard is like, I think, you know, I think he even had his own club at one point, you know, and he's doing a lot of other things too. But with Coach Richard, you know, a lot of the guys don't know him, like the newer guys. But
Right.
Coach Richard is a savage. You know, he back in his day, Coach Richard, it was reffing, he was competing.
Yeah.
You know, so this guy has been around for a long time, put a lot of effort into the sport. and we want to kind of throw that back onto him as far as like, thankfully he did that with us today. So we brought him in as well with Coach Patrick. But the main thing about that is like, a lot of people don't know that Coach Richard was a ref, and he was actually one of the refs whenever I was on Team USA, and we went to Colombia to fight. We took first and second place, combat and sport, and he was one of our USA refs. Every country gets 2 referees.
Right.
That comes with the teams, with the coaches. But with Coach Richard, like I said, a lot of people don't know that his technical knowledge is one of the highest in the country. And that was one of the goals today. And I even asked Richard, I was like, hey, do you mind doing a quick rules overview? Because we have a lot of guys that from jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo, different stuff.
Right.
I want them just to kind of get in here, learn, a quick synopsis, so when these guys do live roll like they're doing now, right, they can kind of mix it up and play the game of Sambo. And passing it back on to Coach Patrick, Slovakia, high level dude, man. People don't know, but again, Coach Patrick is here, man. He's here at HOJ. Like, if you're in the area, come get some work with these guys, savages. High quality people here. With Coach Patrick, sharing his knowledge. He's competed a lot of places around Slovakia, tons of places, Czech, Hungary, everywhere, and had him coach and that kind of stuff. Same with Coach Ruben, over there, high level wrestler, Marcelo Garcia, black belt. He's trained a lot, does that kind of stuff. So the main thing for the coach's side of it was to bring them in, give them a platform to kind of get them exposed to other people. Some of them aren't used to speaking to big crowds. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that was a good platform for them to get practice at, to get comfortable in. And once they got comfortable, man, they were running a room beautifully. Yeah. The other part is like, get them exposed to other people, and as coaches, give them respect as far as like the students watching and that kind of stuff.
Right.
It really fires up the coach when, like, let's say you're doing a sport and nobody's respecting you or listening to you. You're going to lose passion for the sport.
That's true.
So that's why trying to do that for them on the coach side was important for me. Again, my gift is talking and running big rooms. Yeah. So from doing the events, Sambo League, all that kind of stuff, and Sambo Texas seminars, is like I'm very good at running a room and running a big room. Like I said, at our gym, we have 40 on the mat sometimes in combat Sambo a night. So running a room like that, I'm really used to it. So that was my gift. I gave this. They're like, hey, what do I do? I gave them a little direction as far as the format, and these guys just
kick off with it.
They went in there and then went ham. Did an amazing job.
No, yeah, like I said, I watched most of it yesterday. I had to head out, but I was able to get some photos, some video footage, and I enjoyed it, man. That's what I'm saying. I was even telling Patrick, I said, man, that for those that didn't make it, man, they missed out.
Yeah,
this was definitely, bro. It was good to learn, but also to meet other people, because it's like, it opens the sport up a little bit more. Of course, like you're saying, you would love to have, or it probably already is, man, Sambo at a level to where like it's gonna grow, and like you said, have a, those huge seminars.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's on, especially with this really big summit training camp. Was the biggest in the USA, with the amount of coaches plus the amount of attendees and clubs that came. It's. I think that this is the catalyst that'll really push it into the future.
Yeah, because a lot of people too. I had messaged some yesterday, and they were like, "Man, I didn't know about it," and like I said, I dropped the ball on that. Pushing it on my outlets, but the turnout was great. I was impressed. I wasn't expecting less, but it's just I wasn't aware as far as like people that were involved or wanted to learn. I
remember Patrick when I walked in, he was like, "Where's everybody?" I said, "They'll be here."
I know, man. He was a little nervous.
Yeah, he did great though, man. He did. He's an awesome guy. Got to really talk with him, train with him, that kind of stuff. So it was very great to have him in there and pick his brain, that kind of stuff. And the other thing about the training camps is that it's different than a seminar, is that we focus on live rounds. We did 2 days of live sparring too. Yeah. So we're doing drills, we're doing live stuff, but then it's important for these guys to mix it up with other guys, especially for the Sambo community. Yeah. Meaning that we don't have a lot of Sambo players at every place, right? For, like I said, jiu-jitsu, we're trying to get there. You got 5 gyms in every city. Right?
Oh yeah.
There's not that in Sambo yet, but that's the goal. And a lot of these guys, like some of the guys, are going for the world team, going to be competing, and they came here and they made it out of their way to drive up here to get training with the sparring, and we're doing combat and sport Sambo matches in here. right now as we talk over there on the back side of the gym, they're getting their rounds in, and that sparring experience goes very, very far. And like I said, it will probably help these guys win medals.
No, for sure. I mean, no doubt, man. I mean, it's the practice that they need because, like you said, a few of them are going to be competing soon, and of course the rest of the year. But this is something that you might not get where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the guys, men, women, drove out here, and I'm sure they're going to take this with them, man. I mean, it was a great experience. You know, I'm more than sure.
Yeah.
You know, as far as you said, it's going to be every 2 years as far as the summit. But can we see you guys back here, like? You know, before the end of the year or early next year?
Yeah, I would say early next year because I know Patrick wants to get ready for the new Sambo League season with his guys.
Yeah.
As far as like our next event, which if you get a chance to check out, samboleague.com, it's going to be the 2023 Winter Regionals.
Nice.
And then that's the first big event that's the big staging event regionally before the Nationals in April.
Yeah.
And that's run by USA Sambo, so we're definitely going to get around. And as far as USA Sambo, just got to give them a shout out and a plug because without USA Sambo and their support, specifically Coach Bob Clark and Coach Mikhail Kazitsky, all right, these guys are the best in the game and the best in the USA. And you know how to take my advice for it? Just go to FIAS, the one that governs the globe. Those guys, Coach Mikhail Kazitsky, another OG. That is friends with Herbeck. Under FIAS, he is the technical director for Sambo in the USA. So he is the most, I would say, technical advisor at a high level through FIAS. Coach Bob, same thing. For combat Sambo, that's more Bob Clark's area, but with these two guys, and that's, you know, it was awesome, and they got me, you know, to where I am now with the support of USA Sambo. They supported all our events. You know, they would come out for free and do a free clinic at our tournament and help ref for free. These guys didn't charge a dime.
Wow.
And you know, they did that on their dime to help the sport, and those guys really have pushed the sport to where it is now. And without USA Sambo, Coach Bob Clark, Roman as well, and Mikhail Kazitsky, none of this would have also been possible, you know. So very, very great shout out to them. Thank y'all guys for helping the Sambo community out in the USA. We appreciate it.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, that's the kind of support that you're giving back.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out there, and I'm sure you help out when you can, you know, as far as timing. But I mean, that's one way to grow the sport for sure, man. Because it's you know, I mean, it's like I said, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, you know, the level that these fighters, especially involved in mixed martial arts, you know, I mean, that's what they're using, man. So I mean, you can't deny it.
Yeah, I'll give you, and like I said, you can tell the viewers later on if this was true or not. The second I posted the fight from Islam, the picture of Islam with the belt with his hands raised, and Oliveira taking off his hand wraps when they raised his hand, and you know, I said combat Sambo. I said little other things, but you know, this combat Sambo was like, you know, a win for the night. Within 15 minutes, I'm gonna show you the picture because I had to get a picture. Nobody would believe me. Had like 2 or 3 students sign up that hour.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, you know, what are your times? What are your training schedule? How do I sign up? So the guys that, you know, you got to give respect to the guys in the sport that are pushing the sport. Same thing happened with jiu-jitsu. Without Gracie, they would never, without those showings in the first UFCs, it would not have been where it is today. So respect to the fighters, Marina, Kershev, Wally Kershev, Islam Makhachev, Habib, Fedor, Nemkov, also a beast in Bellator right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that they're all over the place.
They're all over the place.
They're definitely wrecking shop.
And they're coming in, and they're getting able to come into these big tournaments and show what the sport can do at a high level. Yeah. And like I said, without them going out there and trailblazing at the highest levels, the little guys like us couldn't grow schools. So I really appreciate what they do. And like I said, as soon as he won, I had 3 people hit me up. I was like, hey, how do I sign up? Take my money. And, and that's what coaches need to hear sometimes, because I hear this a lot. They're like, hey, how do I make money? Is there any money in Sambo? I'm like, if you build it, they will come.
No, yeah, definitely, bro. And I mean, of course, like you said, I mean, you like to speak to people, you like to speak in crowds, so that helps, you know, get the message across. But as far as, I mean, I'm sure it's not just when these guys get wins like that, but I mean, what is it that motivates you every day, man? Why is it that you wake up and I'm like, you know what, I want to keep doing this?
Number one, I do not. Well, when we had like that COVID thing, we were shut down for 2 months. I had never taken a break, like weekly training. I train with these guys all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I had never taken a break for that long a time since I graduated.
Wow.
Right, from high school. So when I graduated high school, I mean, even then I was still training, but I wasn't wrestling anymore. You know, from like the earlier in my years inside of high school, but. Took 2 months off, and I was like that. You know, I just couldn't do 2 or 3 rounds after that. I didn't have the cardio. I was like, man, I'm dying here. I said, this is how like the new guys feel. So that gave me an appreciation for the new guys. I was like, hey, we got to tailor it up a little bit, make it a little bit more easy to get in. But I couldn't see my life without combat sports. 2, they give me discipline.
Yeah.
They give me purpose in life. You know, everybody works a job, and then you go to the job, and then you know, like this is what I want to do.
Right.
Like I said, this is all I do. Like now, you know, I only do the gyms.
Nice.
So you know, it was a grind for a decade, but after I got that done, and we're doing the gyms now, it can. If you are a Sambo coach out there and you're on the fence, it's like you know, it can provide you a living. It can grow programs and make money. You just got to build it, and they will come.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And believe in the art. And 2 is like I just love the game of Sambo, and my skill sets from graphic design, web design. And speaking, honestly, is what really helped me out with this sport. I think I've been able to, content-wise, push it. And again, I gotta thank you so much for the great pictures and the ability to be on the podcast. Because the catalyst of the Sambo Texas Summit is one thing, right? But without the content from this,
oh yeah.
Right,
yeah.
This is what's gonna blow up.
People aren't gonna see it unless it's out there, right?
Yeah, so you can hear about it. Hey, I can tell you, hey, the camp's gonna be awesome. You're like, okay, cool. Yeah. But when you see like you know, like I said with like Machado, like you saw like that mats filled up. You're like, that's where I want to be training. That's where I want to be at. And again, if like anybody interested in Sambo or they're a Sambo athlete interested in getting training, good training, the summit is gonna be like your main place if you're a USA athlete. Yeah, so it's great.
No, for sure, man. Well, like I said, I mean, yesterday I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So what time are you guys going to be here today?
I think we're here for another hour or 2. Just let the guys go.
I'm definitely going to stick around, man. So I'm going to try to get more footage.
Definitely.
But I thank you for jumping on.
Thank you, brother.
Of course, and like I mentioned.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. But I was going to say also, like I mentioned the other day, bro, whenever you guys, even if you can't come to the studio, like we can definitely hit you up via video.
Definitely, man. Definitely. We'll do some content for it, like I said.
For sure.
Like I said, some of like the guys that are getting into the sport, they're my friends on, you know, so I talk to them all the time, world champions, stuff like that. So I would love to get one of them on here with you as well.
Oh, definitely, man.
You know, to help kind of speak onto the sport. So that'd be awesome.
For sure. Bro, I thank you. I'm going to jump back there with you once again.
Yes, sir.
But everybody out there, of course, this is Spida, the Fight Card Podcast. Until next time.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, we should be good.
Awesome, brother.
Bro,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I know as far as